Revolution, everybody. Revolution. This is your boy, Brother Leonard, the Truth Seeker, and I'm coming to you today on this Ishtar Sunday. I guess for most of y'all, it's Easter Sunday. For those who are celebrating Easter or Ishtar, which it really is, happy Ishtar Day to you. Also, if you're one of those that are saying, no, I don't celebrate Easter, I don't celebrate Ishtar, I'm celebrating Resurrection Sunday. Really, you're celebrating Ishtar and Easter, same thing. Happy Resurrection Sunday to you too. All right. I'm coming to you with a few minutes of truth because I found something very interesting in the news this week. And I want to get this out there on my channel because the implications of this situation that's going down in Alabama can really have some far-reaching stuff. Okay, the House of Representatives in Alabama basically voted this week to allow a church, Briarwood, I want to make sure I get this right. What is it? Briarwood Presbyterian Church, which is outside of Birmingham, Alabama. They have voted to allow this mega church. This church, they say, holds about 4,000 people. They also have a private school and a seminary. But this mega church of 4,000 people to have the right to not only hire, but to basically give the full rights of having its own police force. Not security team, not armor bearers, police force with the full rights of being able to make arrests. Let's think about this for a second. Why would a church have need of a police force? Well, they're putting their argument as to the school shooting in Connecticut, Sandy Hook Elementary. Also, they've made mention of the Charleston 9 massacre. And they use those recent events as a backdrop to why they feel it's necessary for their church of 4,000 plus the students plus the seminary to have its own police force and have the rights to not only carry loaded weapons in service, which Alabama doesn't have a law against that, but not only carry weapons in service, but to actually have the full rights of a police force. Now that brings up a whole lot of problems, at least the way that I see it. First of all, is Briarwood actually going to pay for said police force? Or is it going to be taxpayer dollars, just like every other locale's police force? Because if that's the case, then that totally just jacks up separation of church and state. That just messes that up. Because taxpayer dollars should not be going to religious institutions other than the fact of the churches do not pay taxes. That's another story for another day. I'm going to make a video on that very soon anyways. But you have that situation. Also, I have a problem with this because of, if this church is able to get it, then who's to say other mega churches could not have their own police force? There are bigger mega churches than this Briarwood that have a lot more people. And, Birmingham's not too far away from the city of Atlanta, where that seems to be the hub of mega churches, So with all that in mind, what would that be like if these churches all had their own police forces. See, I see this as a big problem. You know, say for instance, if they had a police force, just think about this. They would be able to tell a parishioner whether they are welcomed there or not. And if they're not welcome, they could be arrested. Well, why would they want to be arrested? Maybe somebody decided that they wanted to stop tithing, per se. And when you have a local police force, here's the other question before I even get to that. So now that you have your own police force, does that mean that the churches, these mega churches now, can become its own locale? Meaning, or can they set up their own form of government and create laws and statutes particular to those grounds of the property of that church? So can they, in their own way, begin to make up laws that say, when you come on to this property, you're not allowed to park in the pastor's spot? And that becomes a law at Briarwood Presbyterian Church, so that if someone parks in the pastor's spot, can then the police force of Briarwood Presbyterian Church give that person a ticket that is enforceable to the locale and the magistrate that is within the Briarwood Presbyterian Church? See, all this stuff, they ain't talking about this. See, I look at this as how far this can go. So if they were to hire their own police force, this can go a totally wild way. So this is something that you need to think about, people. This here is something that you need to think about. So what if this goes through? Now, the House passed it, and the Senate, Alabama, they're going to look at it this week, but I'm not sure about how they're going to pass the law, because right now they're in their little turmoil in Alabama with the governor being resigning for his foolishness and whatnot. So they might be a little distracted right now. But think about it. If this law is passed where churches can have their own police force, then what's to say that they will hire not only security, but to hire their own police force? This is going to be amazing. And you can look out for it, because then, like I said before, because then a church like Briarwood, once they get the police force, now they may want more power and become their own city that's right there in Briarwood Presbyterian, on that Presbyterian, because remember, that lot or series of lots that church sits on is tax-free. And in fact, they are looking and could look to become its own Vatican. And just think about that. So when it becomes its own Vatican, people, think about how this thing could just go. You can sit up there and have your own city, become your own country, become all this stuff on church. And they're using this as a means of saying we're trying to protect our people. What's wrong with a security team? I don't know, but they want a police force. This is a Pandora's box, people. Pandora's box, and yet nobody is talking about this in the mainstream media, really. You may have heard a little bit of pieces about it, but this thing could be an avalanche. Just think about other churches like this, big churches that so keep that in mind, people. All right. I'm about ready to go to dinner. Everyone else go back to dinner. We're going to enjoy our meal this week for the holiday. So revolution, everybody. Keep strong, and I'll talk to you sometime over the week. Revolution.